Bring in our political power panel for this Monday morning. We have political White House reporter Carrie Budoff-Brown, Democratic strategist Jaime Harrison, and Republican strategist Chip Saltzman. It's great to have you all three here, and I know you were listening to the congressman there. Right now, Democrats do appear to be winning the debate in the court of public opinion, 60% favoring the hiking of taxes on incomes over $250,000. But Chip, I want to ask you, how much longer can the GOP continue its posturing on this? Because it's kind of a fait accompli that this is going to happen. Taxes are going to go up no matter what they do.
Well, first of all, whenever you poll somebody, should we raise taxes on the rich people, everybody says yes. That poll is meaningless to me. But yeah, I think something's going to get done. What we've got 22 days. The president's got a fairly strong hand on here with, if nothing happens, then all the taxes go up. But I think that the Republicans have got to really put spending cuts at the front of this table. We can't just get a commitment to talk about them. If the Republicans go along with a tax increase, which is, as most people know, that's the worst thing Republicans can do as far as the base is concerned, they've got to get some serious spending cuts to be able to take back home after Christmas.
Okay, so let's put that poll back up, because Chip, you're saying that certain people will say this is meaningless to me. But Jaime, it's this Politico number that we're looking at here, and if Republicans agree to raise taxes on the top 2%, what assurances are they going to have on the back end that Democrats are going to be able to come back next year and work to simplify tax code reform entitlements like Chip points out?
Well, listen, Thomas, in terms of polls being meaningless, you know, my good friend Chip, the Republicans don't like polls very much, as we saw in the last presidential election. But listen, that aside, the Democrats are very committed, and this president's very committed to handling this fiscal problem that we have right now. And you know, even in his first term, he talked about real tax reform and corporate tax reform. And so he wants to find ways in which to keep American businesses here in the country, but also find ways in which we can streamline our tax code to make small businesses work better and to grow. And so I am very, very confident that the Democrats are very sincere in their thoughts about reforming the tax code next year.
All right, so Carrie, I want to play this for everybody. This clip from Chuck Todd's interview with Erskine Bowles, one of the half of the duo of the President's Debt Reduction Commission. Take a listen.
I don't see why the president would want to negotiate against himself on this. You know, if the Republicans are going to be willing to reduce entitlements, then they ought to come forward and talk about those that they're willing to support.
So, Carrie, the president has been publicly willing, at least to say so, to take a hard look at entitlements. Isn't it now time for the Republicans to offer up the specifics of what they want? The onus is on them.
That's certainly the position of the White House and Democrats on the Hill. They say they've been waiting for a few weeks for Republicans to step forward with a specific plan on entitlements. You heard a little bit last week from Republican aides when they briefed reporters that they were interested in looking at the Medicare eligibility age, raising that, looking at changing the cost of living calculator for government benefit programs. But they did not put that in the letter, the specific proposal they sent to the president. So we continue to see this back and forth, this demand that Republicans step forward with a specific plan, but at the same time, Republicans saying, you know, we're willing to consider revenue, Mr. President. We need to see what you're willing to do on entitlements. So that has been sort of a point of, you know, contention right now. And the fact that we saw the president meeting with Speaker Boehner yesterday at the White House, we have to think that these conversations are getting into more detail. So I think today is when we'll maybe see some more of these details possibly shake loose, or there could be such a close hold because maybe progress is being made.
All right, so another interesting thing that I do want to talk about today is this article that Politico has out dealing with Republican leaders, and only adds to the question of who is the GOP leader right now. 47% of Republicans have a favorable view of Mitt Romney and Congressman Paul Ryan. 47%, that number is just going to haunt them until the end of days. 29% say the same of House Speaker John Boehner. 39% view Jeb Bush in a favorable light. 36% of Republicans haven't even heard of Marco Rubio. So, Carrie, there's no definitive answer in all of this as to who Republicans see emerging as a true leader moving forward.
Sure, that's the challenge that Republicans face right now after Mitt Romney, who doesn't hold a public office where he can continue to sort of have this platform or this voice. So that leaves a void right now. And as you said, Speaker, I mean, Congressman Ryan is, below 50%. A lot of these more popular figures, as we would view them inside Washington, Marco Rubio, others, they still remain largely, unknown outside the Beltway. And Jeb Bush, another person who's been pointed out as a leading contender in 2016, is still being weighed down by the Bush name. And you can see maybe that's the reason why he did, among many reasons, probably did not jump into the race this year. He has a couple of years, obviously, to sort of push up his, favorability rating. We will probably see him maybe taking a more, prominent role in the next year as immigration comes up. He's been a key sort of leader on that. But yeah, for the Republican Party, there's a void right now. But then again, we're 4 years out. So we can't take too much, or the Republican Party can't look at these numbers as too dire at this point.
All right, so even though we are 4 years out, I want you all to take a listen to what Joe Scarborough had to say this morning on Morning Joe about the Republican Party.
I've noticed a lot of the people on the far right, not the far right. It's almost like they get the memo. Our stupidity was not rewarded on Election Day. So perhaps we're going to have a more fact-based view of the political scene.
Chip, do you think that's resonating? Are there signs that those on the far right are ready to moderate their positions a bit, especially when it comes to the midterms and moving on to the next presidential race?
Yeah, I mean, I don't obviously agree with how Joe couched that, but look, we lost an election. We obviously know that. And anytime you lose an election or a national party loses an election, then everybody says, what are we going to do to change? What are we going to do to change? I think as a party, what we've got to do is actually talk about what we believe in a way that people actually want to listen and hear it, as opposed to being the party of angry people. And I think the last election, it seemed like most Republicans were just mad about being conservative, and there was no positive message about what that meant for Hispanics or what that meant for the people that were unemployed. It was just, we seem to be this poster boy of angry. And I think as we kind of move forward and we talk about who the next leader is, I think that leader is going to be emerged as somebody that can talk about a positive message of what the conservative values mean to this country.
Our Monday Morning Power Panel. Thanks so much, Chip Saltzman, Jaime Harrison, and Carrie Budoff Brown. I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Tom.
Still on the agenda.